We have already talked about 9 different number properties, 4 properties for addition, commutative, associative, identity, and inverse. And then we had 5 properties for multiplication. The first 4 were the same. And then we had that one called property of 0, multiplicative property of 0, anything times 0 is 0. Well, we've got one more property to discuss, and that is the distributive property. This is really one of the most important properties that you'll learn this year, getting you ready for algebra next year. So if I gave you a stack of papers and asked you to distribute them, I think you would know that you needed to hand them out, or you needed to pass them out to everybody in the classroom. So distribute means to hand something out or to pass something out. I'm going to go ahead and write hand out. And this first example shows mathematically what it looks like. I'm going to draw arrows, and I would like to see this on your notes and also on the problems that we do in class, showing that I'm taking this 4 and I'm handing it out. I'm distributing this 4 to all the numbers inside the parentheses. So 4 times 6, and here I've written that, 4 times 6. Remember in algebra we don't really use that little dot symbol very much, or the X, so I'm just writing it like that. And here's the second part, is that I've got to give that 4 also to that 3. 4 times 6 and 4 times 3, and a plus sign in the middle. Let's see what this equals. 4 times 6 is 24, and 4 times 3 is 12. And I add these two things together and I get 36. Let's go back to the very beginning and see if we could do this a different way. 6 plus 3 is 9. And when I see a 4 and a 9 right next to each other like this with no symbols, I know it means multiply. 4 times 9, yep, that's 36 also. So I'm going to show my arrows on these next few problems. 5 times 7, and in this case I see a subtraction sign, so I'm going to put a subtraction sign there. 5 times 2. 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 2 is 10. Subtraction sign in the middle, this will give me 25. Let's go back to the beginning and see, what is 7 take away 2? 5. And 5 times 5, yeah, it's 25. Sometimes, to be tricky, you'll see the number that needs to be distributed behind the grouping symbols, behind the parentheses, but we do the same thing. I'm passing this 4 out. I'm passing it to the 3, and I'm also passing it to the 2. So 4 times 3 and 4 times 2, and a plus sign in the middle. 4 times 3 is 12, and 4 times 2 is 8, gives me 20. Let's go back here and see. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 times 4 is 20. That also works. Now at this point you might be asking, well, this checking that I've been doing is a lot faster than all of this other work. Well, we're getting ready for algebra. And in algebra we don't always have numbers only. In algebra we're going to have problems that have variables, like this one down here. So in this problem, I'm going to do what I've learned to do, and that's distribute A times B, which looks like this, and A times C, which looks like this, plus sign in the middle. This is the algebraic definition of the distributive property. On this next page, we've got some other examples with variables. negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times, now remember the symbol actually belongs to this number, so I'm going to do negative 3 times negative 4. That's actually going to give me a positive 12. And this answer is finished. I can't combine those things together. Try one more of these. Here I have the number in the back, but I still know that that means to distribute. Negative 9 times 12 is negative 108. Negative 9 times m will be negative 9m. Now I could have also written this problem a little bit differently. I will have the negative 108, that will be the same. But I could have put the plus sign, and then when I did negative 9 times m, I could have written negative 9m. But these two things mean the same thing. And you guys know I tell you all the time, mathematicians are lazy. Look at all the extra stuff I had to write. I had to write a plus sign, which I didn't need. I had to write 2 parentheses, which I didn't need. So why should we learn to do this? Why should we learn to do distributive property? Well, other than these examples up here that you will need to know how to do this for algebra, one reason is for mental math. What is 12 multiplied by 24? Now this is a problem I can do in my head. I don't need to get a piece of paper or a pencil because of the distributive property. So I can break down 24 into 20 plus 4. And then I can think about this in my head. I know that I need to do 12 times 20, and thinking in my head, well, 12 times 2, that's 24. There's going to be a 0 on it. And 12 times 4 is 48. So in my head, I can combine those two things, and I can see that the answer will be 288. Now, let's check really quickly just to make sure that that answer is correct. 12 times 24, and there it is, 288. But I didn't need to write this stuff down. I'm just showing you what I would do in my head to come up with that answer. Here are 3 questions that I would like you to write down into your notes and then solve. And I want you to show the arrows. So that's going to look like this. So show the arrows. These are the numbers that I'm multiplying together. And show all the steps. So that means I don't want you to just go ahead and write the answer. I want you to show that this means 8 times r plus 8 times 3. And then underneath that, you can give me the final simplified answer.